Welcome to Watch It or Don't. I'm Matt, here with Dan.
Yeah, I'm back.
Good to have you back finally.
It's been like a year and a half. But
yeah.
Here we are.
Long enough.
Yeah.
We're going to do a classic review today. I said we'd have some more of these coming, and since there's no shortage of old movies to watch.
It's true. And as random as this channel is, we are going to start with 1955 classic, Marty.
Yeah, it's one of the few Ernest Borgnine movies I actually enjoy.
Really? You're not an Ernest Borgnine fan?
I'm not a huge fan. I get why he's important, as an
Yeah.
actor, but it's definitely not one of my...
Well, let's talk about him a little bit. This is directed by Delbert Mann,
Okay,
which I did a little research. He was mostly a TV director.
right?
And that kind of goes into this movie. This movie was originally a TV movie that they kind of remade for the big screens,
Okay.
from what I understand. But it did win Best Picture,
Yep.
1955.
You mentioned that with the director. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me, but I do know that he broke the record. He was the first director where that was his debut, and he won Best Director.
Yeah.
And the only person to ever tie that is Robert Redford.
Really?
Which I don't really count that because he was an actor sort of going into a new...
Yeah, but he's a TV director too. It's not like it's...
Right, completely foreign to him. They
Exactly.
just pick someone up.
So, what is Marty about?
Marty's about Ernest Borgnine, his main character, Marty. He is a husky guy, as he describes himself.
He's not really that husky.
He's
though.
really not. Even by like that time period, the 1950s, you're looking at him like, he's really not that large of a guy.
But for the plot's sake, he's husky. He can't find a girl. He's 34.
He's 34,
I think,
that's correct.
He is a World War II veteran.
He is.
Came back from the war, didn't have a lot of prospects, becomes a butcher, and is just overall a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
Super nice guy. He's got a couple friends that try to get him to go out and meet the girls. He lives with his mom.
And everyone's just bothering him. When are you going to get married? When are you going to get married?
It is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad.
And we think of, 34 today, like, oh yeah, that's obviously not bad to be single, but
Right.
in 1955, if you're 34 and not married, that's a little...
You could have rabies. Something is wrong
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, so anyway, he's going out on the town. He falls in love with another lost soul, if you will,
Yes.
played by Betsy Blair.
Betsy Blair.
She plays a school teacher who, she's like 28, she says, I think, in the movie.
Yeah, about 28, 29, I want
Yeah,
to
so,
say.
and she hasn't found love either. So it's a nice little, these two lost souls meet in the night.
Which, if
and-
it's bad that he's not married, it's even worse if you're 29 and a woman and you're not married in the 50s. There's
True.
definitely something wrong with
And
you.
there's a stigma because she went to college and it's the 50s and women in college.
I think the line is college girls are a step away from the street, isn't it? Something
Yeah.
like that?
There's definitely some social things in this movie that just don't hold up today.
It's a nice little time capsule. And as a time capsule, it's only 90 minutes.
It's very short.
It's the shortest Academy Award winning movie, so definitely check
Is
it
it
out
really
for
the
that.
shortest?
I believe it is.
Oh, it's good to know.
I will take that.
It's so the two meet each other, they instantly have a connection, they really like each other, but then the people around them for some reason decide to kind of dissuade them from
Well,
going together.
right away his friends are like, she's a dog, and they keep saying she's super ugly. Again, if
Yeah.
you see her, you're like, who are they talking about?
Well, his friends are single too, and they're jealous that he's found someone, and then his mom is jealous too. He lives with his mom, he takes care of his mom, all of a sudden, his mom always wants him to find this girl. When he does find her, then she's like, wait, I'm gonna be on the street. I'm gonna have,
Where do moms go?
Exactly. So, in the end, they both have to make this decision on, is this true love and do we go for it, kind of thing. And
This is all in one night.
yeah, exactly. It takes
big
place
decision.
within like 24 hours or so. There is a really nice moment at the end. We can kind of spoil this. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty mundane. It's 70 years old or whatever. But there's a nice
It has
moment where they're both in their respective houses, or she's in her house and he's out with his friends, and they were supposed to call early in the day and it didn't happen. They're both trying to find excuses to why this isn't going to work, and all of a sudden they have a nice nice zoom in on both of them where they both realize like, why shouldn't I be happy? And it's a really cool little like, oh, nice, good character work there.
No, it's a pretty tight. I mean, it's only 90 minutes, and all the dialogue. It won for best screenplay.
Did it?
And it's every line of dialogue, even though there might be a little like funny joke or like a repeated joke, like a running gag, it all makes sense, and it's a very tight dialogue.
Yeah, it is tight. I wouldn't have minded a little bit more in the length, just because there are a few storylines in there that they don't exactly tie up. There's a whole plot line with Marty's cousin and his wife. about living with their mother-in-law, and it kind of like
Right.
it kind of drives the plot forward with his own mother, but in the end that's pretty much left unresolved. And there's just a few things that like they could have gotten a little more into, but I appreciate that it's tight and it's like a quick little nice little romance movie.
Right.
Before we talk about kind of like the social aspects of it, of the time period, let's talk about Ernest Borgnine.
Sure.
My impression of Ernest Borgnine, he's in like everything. Like if you watch movies from the 50s to now, he'll show up in these random roles. Most of the time, though, he's playing like a military guy. He's in a lot of westerns.
He's famous from Here to Eternity.
Here to
That was one of his
Eternity,
big ones.
The Wild Bunch. He's a kind of a rough cowboy. What is Dirty Dozen?
Right. He's more of a second-hand John Wayne. He's
Exactly.
a little,
But he's
little
like
huskier, more like lovable.
He's a
in
character
some ways.
actor who's lovable, but also a little slimy sometimes.
Oh yeah, he can be really slimy.
I'm thinking of him like Escape from New York. He's kind of a slimy cab driver.
Yeah.
And, like the Poseidon Adventure.
He's very much a character actor later on in his years. In these first couple ones, it's like he's
Mm-hmm.
either really serious drill sergeant, and then it kind of got sillier.
Right.
As time
But
went on.
all of that makes this role seem so interesting to me, because all of a sudden I'm used to seeing Ernest Borgnine in this weird kind of character actor sense, but this time he's really affectionate and caring, and he's like this really happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and you just root for him instantly. He's like this super nice guy.
Yeah, it's hard not to
And
like.
he's a really good actor, and he won Best Actor for this.
Yeah, he beat Frank Sinatra, Spencer Tracy, a lot of James
Yeah.
Dean was the other one. So it's like
Oh,
that was
wow.
a good year, and it's like, wow.
He, I'm trying to think of like a modern analogy to what this performance
could
is. Like
be?
who could play that role? I don't know if I know anybody. Like obviously, like you think of everyman actors like Tom Hanks, but this is more than that. This is like almost like a Jack Black kind of doing a serious
Yeah,
kind of like.
that's actually really good.
Um,
That would be a really good switch. I know the movie did get remade, like in the 80s or 90s, I want to say, with John Candy.
That's
as
another
you
one,
can
John
imagine
Candy. I can see that. Just like this very lovable guy, maybe down on his luck a little bit, but you instantly root for him no matter what he's going for. And
Yeah.
that's a side of Ernest Borgnine I've never really seen before.
That's kind of why I like it, because
Yeah.
I usually think he's just a sort of schlocky, but this is one of the ones where I really like
Yeah, I
him.
mean, I've always liked him in general, but this has definitely sold me on, wow, Ernest Borgnine. He's doing some good stuff. Let's talk about the time period of
Sure,
the 50s. This
1950s.
is the post-World War II era of
Yep.
Hollywood. And I think what makes this movie unique a little bit in terms of the time period, in a lot of ways it is very classic Hollywood stereotypes, like, boy meets girl. It's like all this, nice little melodrama, some great stuff. But in a lot of ways it's different because it focuses on this kind of not very attractive man, kind of a loser,
He's
a
not
loner.
your leading man.
He's not.
typical
Yeah,
character.
it's not Cary Grant.
No.
It's not James Dean. It's
Right, well,
not,
yeah.
It's not Marlon Brando. Like all the Hollywood leading men at the time, and all the Hollywood, stereotypical movies are like these hunky. They know what they want. They get what they want, and the women are all like they're either strong femme fatales or
They're beautiful, like girls in a magazine,
Exactly.
and this is very realistic.
So this is a kind of a shift for Hollywood. I feel like it's the first time that they've really focused on maybe some lower classes of people in a way.
Yeah.
He's a butcher. Like that's not a storyline you usually get in classic Hollywood.
From
you usually
his
get
perspective.
you get like a pilot or a sailor or a newspaper ad man or something like that.
That's a good point. Doing like just a different sort of class of people, especially for that time period. I like more of like the trying to think of a good comparison. Sort of the 1960s for like England, where it was working class, post-war, where you see regular people, not the more famous
Right.
people that you're used to, and it's the lower sort of like scummier, not scummier in this case. I mean,
Yeah.
still he's a butcher. He's not a thief or something like that. But it's nice to see sort of a different side of America.
Yeah, especially in the post-war, it's like in the 50s, everyone's, conforming to the American standard.
Everything's
Everyone's
positive.
happy. Everyone's like, yeah, post-war boom. Everyone's getting their jobs and wives and having kids. And, like for a lot of people, that probably wasn't true. They probably saw this beautiful thing on the screen and even on TV, and they're like, my life kind of sucks. And not that Marty
good point,
is,
yeah.
he's wallowing in his sadness or whatever.
He
but
does a little, but he gets over. That's
little
kind of the
bit,
point
yeah.
of the movie. And thinking you maybe like a step further, just America when it comes to movies, I think of them going to forget about their troubles.
Yeah.
And Europe, they typically, that's not sort of how I think of them with their movies. Like usually it'll be like a really bleak French sort of movie, if you will. But this one was a bleaker one that worked. I don't know if the humor helped kind of cover that.
It's a little bit more realistic than a lot of things. I think they filmed a lot of it in New York rather than on a studio in LA.
And it was low budget. Like when you say it was filmed in New York, it's like...
I read that they spent more on the Oscars campaign than the actual movie. So
I believe, that's crazy.
They campaigned hard. They got their best picture. It turned out we're watching Marty.
Yeah.
Is it 62 years later or whatever? Yeah. But it's an interesting social movie, and I think it did cause some stirrings in the 50s. People are watching this movie thinking, you know what, this is more realistic than what I'm getting from my typical Hollywood melodrama.
Right.
So I think that's an interesting historical point to this movie.
Right. No, it's a good little time capsule, little snippet of that.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, what would you rate the movie?
Overall, it's good. It's a Best Picture winner, so that makes it important in a certain sense. Like even though the Oscars don't always get it right, but it's good. It's a cool little social time capsule, I think, from the 50s. So I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. I think no one's gonna dislike this movie. No. It's a pretty likable movie. It's pretty
have to go out of your way.
It's not throwing a lot of heavy things at you at one time. It's pretty middle of the line. It's fun. And
I'm honestly the same. Strong 7. I almost want to go an 8 to tell you the truth, because I really like how it's written. The jokes it does a little bit of the running gag thing, which is kind of classic and almost has like a TV sort of feel. Yeah. But the movie's only 90 minutes. Give it a shot, and I think you'll be really impressed with it.
Right. All right. Yeah.
And I think that about wraps it up. We'll be trying to do a lot more of these classic reviews. Please give us a comment. If there's a movie that you think maybe we should check out, let us know.
We'll watch anything.
We'll watch it or don't. I know we don't really say that, but thanks for watching as always.
See ya.